So, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
These are the questions to be answered. First is, how do you prepare for quality teaching?
In a teaching process, a teacher prepares plans, lessons ahead of time. The teacher must see to it that he or she is ready before engaging in the class to have a quality teaching. To target quality teaching, the teachers will show different strategies depending on the needs and level of the student. They have to apply differentiated instruction for the students or learners to cope with the lesson.
Next question is, what is a lesson plan?
A lesson plan is a teacher's description of the subject matter developed by a teacher to guide class learner. This is a plan, a script to be used by the teacher inside the classroom. The full script. There are types of lesson plan. The detailed lesson plan will be used by a teacher within or 1 to 3 years in the service. The semi-detailed lesson plan used by a teacher with 3 years and beyond. Then the DLL or the daily lesson log used by teachers in the blended learning modality. Lesson plan is the book of the teacher to provide clear and direction in a lesson proper. Okay. Next question.
Next question is, why do teachers need to prepare their lesson plans?
The teachers need to prepare their lesson plans for them to be packed up before facing the learners. A teacher without lesson plan is like a soldier without a gun in a battlefield. Dapat laging handa. Next question.
Next question is, what are the parts of a lesson plan?
There are 5 parts of a lesson plan. First is the learning objectives. These parts here give the statement of purpose of the lesson. It has to be an affective, cognitive, and psychomotor objectives. Also, it should be SMART, the specific, measurable, achievable, attainable, relevant, or result-oriented, and time-bound. Next is the topic or the subject matter. Then the lesson proper. In the lesson proper comes the motivation, the drill, the lesson proper, then the group activities, the generalization, the application, then we have evaluation and assignment.
Next question is, what are the essential characteristics of a good and well-written lesson plan?
A lesson plan includes details of the lesson, the learning outcome to be covered, the methodology that will be used, the resources or the materials required, the activities that will be carried out both to engage and assess the learners. It should have a clear aims. The lesson plan should clearly state the objectives, both the general and the specific, to be achieved by the teaching.
Next question is, what are the things we need to remember when we prepare for an effective teaching demonstration?
Preparing lessons in a teaching demonstration is far different than preparing lessons in an ordinary class day. Well, we have to remember some points. Keep it simple. Careful planning and practice. Then know your audience. The level of the students should be preparing for. Make your material fit for the topic. Then engage your students. Don't just lecture the students. Get them involved and let them interact positively. Then use technology, the visual, to support your teaching and promote learning. For example, the PowerPoint slides. Those are the things to remember in order to have an ideal teaching demonstration. Next.
Last question is, why do you have to engage learners in your lessons?
In engaging learners in a lesson, we need to engage learners in the learning process to analyze learners' needs and skills and identify gaps, to increase their attention and focus, to motivate them to practice higher level critical thinking skills, and lastly, to promote meaningful learning experiences. Thank you.
So that's it, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Klaro.
Well, quality teaching is very essential to our education. To prepare for it, one must have a plan to follow. The most basic and important thing to have is the lesson plan. Lesson plan should be prepared ahead because this will be the blueprint for the lesson today. All the things inside the lesson plan should be aligned to the lesson objective and considers all aspects of learning. There should also be interventions and remarks on it so it would be easy to determine the strengths and weaknesses of the class. And this is what I do in my class, preparing the lesson plan first. What is a lesson plan? Well, ito kasi yung sandata ng teacher bago siya pumasok sa klase niya. Lesson plan is the roadmap, outline, or I call it the blueprint for every teacher to use as the basis for teaching the learners. It contains all the things to prepare and to do for the learner to be engaged in learning, and there should be an assessment. It will determine the lesson learned by the pupils. Why do you need to prepare lesson plans? Well, every teacher needs to prepare a lesson plan because having a prepared lesson plan means the teacher is ready and have mastered the lesson to teach. The instructional materials and all the things needed for teaching is also in the lesson plan. Without it, there will be an unorganized class and an unorganized lesson procedure. It's confusing to the learners as well as the teacher, and it will not achieve the lesson objective effectively. Why do you have to engage the learners in our lessons? Well, there will be no sense if the learners are not engaged in the lessons. Because engaging the learners in the lesson makes them more interested and makes them remember their lesson more. It will also test their capabilities and it will bring out their knowledge in the lesson, and it lets them experience it. This will also determine if the objective of the lesson is achieved.